Let's get into it. Coach Colin here, Sold Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan discussing a few things about Donald Trump alongside of a mega patriot. Doesn't happen often where Joe's in front of a mega patriot, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be talking about Trump not locking up Hilary Clinton, possibly pardoning Biden when Trump gets back in office, the way they treated Trump, and, you know, the whole thing of wanting to get a candidate who's going to calm things down. Oh, I don't like the way Trump talks, which is surprising coming from Joe Rogan's guest. And then, you know, talking about the way Trump talks. Then we're going to be covering Trump's feelings, because he's always said his revenge is going to be success. And I'm going to play that for you when he first said it. But then I'm going to play a clip of him after the verdict came in and he actually was found guilty of the 34 counts of nothingness. It's a little bit, the energy's a little different. The message is still pretty much the same, but you can tell there's an air of anger with him. Then I'm going to be showing you a clip of him discussing why he didn't lock Hilary Clinton up. And honestly, I don't know if I agree with him on this, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's get into this Rogan clip.
Reagan was a Democrat before he was a Republican, by the way.
As was Trump.
Yeah.
Well, that's
since then, Facebook has said they made a mistake.
Oh.
They said that yesterday because we put out a letter to it in an article on Newsweek, and they said they made a mistake. It was their automatic systems had detected it.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah. I don't know what those automatic systems are, but there was a mistake in that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there if it's rogue employees. The problem is, like, so many of those people are so ideologically captured. So many of the people that are working for any tech company, they're kids coming out of the universities. They're all left-wing. There's very few right-wing people involved. It's a tiny, tiny percentage.
Right.
And they all feel like it's their duty. They feel like they're activists before they're even anything
to save
else.
America.
Yeah, which is like, from what?
Totally drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
Yeah, it's that's what's unfortunate about the way Trump talks. Because the way Trump talks, it's easy to make him the enemy because he seems like a mean old rich man, you know. And so in their eyes, that's everything that's wrong in the world.
Yes, they'll go after, make fun of you personally or whatever.
Yeah, but he didn't
talk in
prosecute
those terms.
Hillary.
So you see, it feels like a schoolyard bully or whatever. Right. But he's, with. All the things that they did to Trump, I do believe him when he, as far as revenge and all that stuff, that the success in the election would be his revenge.
Yeah.
And I really believe that if it was Biden who was, impeached or going to jail or whatever, I think Trump would pardon him, to tell you the truth. I don't think he wants anybody to see a president in jail because that really changes our country.
Well, he has said that openly about Hillary.
Yeah.
Like when he got into office, there was a lot of people that were pressing him to prosecute her, to go after her for the email thing, for a lot of different things. And he said, no, that'd be a terrible look. It'd be terrible for our country. The wife of the former president of the United States, no way.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it. So all these things that people think he's going to do, well, he had the opportunity to do those things 4 years ago. And they're thinking now they've done so many egregious things to him now with all the prosecutions and then the years and years of Russiagate. Every fucking news network saying something. Yeah,
it started at day even before he got into office. They were, but I wasn't going to vote for Trump. This time around, I was wanting them to find another candidate, that would kind of calm things down a bit. That's because I thought that's what we needed. We need to calm things down. But then when they went after him with the judicial system. These like stupid charges.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's when things change for me because then you're messing with the Constitution.
Right.
And we can't go back from that.
Right.
After something like that happens.
Right.
And so that's why I'm jumping in all for Trump.
And the other thing is people need to understand that even if you hate Trump, if you normalize weaponizing the judicial system against a political candidate, that can be used against your party too.
Exactly.
And if someone gets in, like if Vivek Ramaswamy gets in or if Ron DeSantis gets in and he starts doing the same things that they did to Trump, then we have chaos.
Yeah.
Then we're a
got a banana republic. We're Venezuela,
Exactly.
where you can go down the line on how that works.
Exactly. Yeah, it's terrifying. We're like the last hope for this whole idea of this experiment in self-government.
Ronald Reagan said that these freedoms that we take for granted, they can be lost in a generation. And I always thought, well, that's kind of really high talk and all that stuff, but
It's true.
it's true.
It's true.
And these are the craziest times.
Yeah, the craziest.
And fascinating, by the way, that I've ever lived in. It makes the 60s look like a sandbox play.
Yep. Yeah.
It really did.
Well, it's because tech's involved and AI and deep fakes and just so many shenanigans are going on simultaneously. It's such a bizarre. It's a great time for comedy. There's so much shit to make fun of because it's almost like
True.
the things that are real. They're so funny. They write themselves.
Yeah, it's true. You can't make this stuff up.
It's so nuts. The whole thing is so nuts. And the fact that these people are so ideologically captured, they can't recognize the danger of doing the things that they're doing in order to win. And that you can't fix that stuff once you put it in motion. And I just don't. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm glued. Like if this was a show, I'd be like, holy, what a great show! Like the writing on this show is fucking incredible.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's a cliffhanger, that's for sure.
Yeah, the assassination attempt.
Man, let's get right into it. I like this Dennis Quaid guy, But here's one thing that I found a little odd about what he said. He's looking for a candidate that was going to calm things down, but then also looking at it as freedoms could be lost in a generation. And that's something that he's learned because he's been studying Reagan quite a bit and he's done the movie and everything. So if you know that the freedoms could be lost in a generation and these freedoms are very serious and you want to uphold these freedoms for your kids and your grandkids, then you wouldn't really be looking for someone to calm things down, And this also links to what they're talking about with regretful about how Trump talks, The way that he talks is the way, and I've said this before, it's the way that everyone who's upset with politicians would talk to them if they were in front of them. Actually, probably a little more tamed, quite honestly. I mean, what would you say if you were in front of Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, AOC, Ron DeSantis, like whoever? What would you say to these people? A lot of people would not have great things to say about them. And that goes from the left to the right and the people who are on the left and the right. So I don't know, man. You gotta really roll with the way that he talks because first of all, he's talking like one of the people would. Second of all, we have freedoms that could be lost in a generation at stake. So you don't really want someone like, and also the question is, who's going to calm things down? If RFK was in the position that Kamala Harris is in, you think he would be calming things down? He wouldn't really be calming things down. People who want Trump in office would still be like, I want Trump in office. They would still point to RFK's record of talking about, embracing climate change, embracing gun control, even a gun ban, he said, if it was good on if both sides agreed. So, people would still be upset about him. So to find someone who's going to calm things down is to find someone who's meek. And not meek in the biblical sense. Meek as in weak, soft-spoken. And that's not going to work right now. Because when you look at what's going on in this, and I'm going to get to the clips right now. When you look what's going on right now in the race, Kamala's attacking just as much. Her campaign, her people, her camp are attacking just as much as Trump is. Trump's is a little more rugged, a little more out there. They're like weird. Trump's like, you're a communist and you're dumb. He literally said that at a rally. So it's a little different, but they're both still going at each other really hard. So it's not like it's just Trump. And then also you have to say when it comes to the way Trump talks, okay, and I'm going to jump into the clip about easy. Got it. But when it comes to the way Trump talks, is it regrettable how he talks? Or is what really regrettable is how he's depicted by the media? Because if all of the media, this whole media industrial complex that moves for Kamala, if they celebrated everything Trump said, people wouldn't really look at him as divisive. If, Joy Reid went on camera and was like, that was President Trump, one of the greatest presidents we've ever seen, and took everything he said and agreed with it, be a little different. It's not really the way he talks that's the problem. It's the way that they paint him. Because yes, he says funny things. Yes, he'll be insulting. But when the media likens that to Hitler, like what? Anyway, let's get into the whole success will be the revenge will be success thing. So this is when he was asked the question for the first time before the verdict came through. Okay, listen to this. Well, we have this on mute. What's going on here? We got muted. What's going on?
Is so divided right now. Mr. President, our country is so divided right now. I know you have suffered endless attacks, no doubt, but how can you assure independent and undecided voters that your focus as president will be on improving the state of our country and not settling those old scores?
It's an interesting question, I must say. Look, I did it before. We had a great 4 years, especially before that very last part where COVID came in, and we did a great job there. We've been given great marks on the economy and on the military and on foreign affairs, but never got the credit we should have gotten in that. We did something amazing, and the stock market was higher in the end. But just before the China, I call it the China virus because I like to be accurate, came onto our shores, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, even going up to the end. But this period of time, and it was success. Success is the word I'm using to answer your question. We had such success in history. Some of your favorite pollsters like McLaughlin and Fabrizio, I met them the day before I heard the word COVID or pandemic, the day before. And we were talking about the next election coming up. They said, sir, if Abraham Lincoln and George Washington came back from the dead, they couldn't beat you. We had the greatest economy ever. And the people, let's call them on the left and far left, were calling me, we want to get together. I've never seen anything like it. I said, do you believe this? Everybody was happy. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American.
We're going to get into that because of your polls on that.
When you look at the poll numbers today with African American, Hispanic American, we're doing better than any.
But the question about score settling, a lot of women, a lot of women voters, they don't like the name calling, they don't like the score settling. They love your policies, and they just want Trump's policies, maybe not so much of the other stuff. So I think that's what the question, if you don't mind my asking, I think that's what she's getting at.
But also you want to say, how do you get together? We're going to get together through success. When the country was at a level that we had the best employment numbers in history, everything was good. And this country was coming together. Then we got hit with COVID, but this country came together. I don't care about the revenge thing. I know they usually use the word revenge. Will there be revenge? My revenge will be success.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
There you go. That was before the verdict was dropped, okay? That was before. Now we're going to get to after the verdict was dropped. Let me see if I make sure I got the seconds proper here. Let me just put it right to the seconds. There we go. And again, the energy's a little different. He's even, I'm just going to leave it to you. Here. Listen to this.
Presidency, what they've done to you, you've got the verdict that just came through. A lot of Democrats have expressed concern that if you're elected, you're going to want revenge. And some of your supporters have said, well, mutually, we're just talking about the weaponization of the justice system against political opponents. Some of your supporters have said, well, the only way to stop this is mutually assured destruction, right? If you do it to us, we're going to do it to you. You've said, no, my revenge is going to be success for America. You've just had this verdict. Yeah. Do you still feel the same? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a really tough question in one way, because these are bad people. These people are sick. And they do things that are so destructive. I mean, look what they did from the day I got there. And I don't know, a lot of people said, we have no choice but to elect Trump. Republicans, because he's the only one that can withstand this. Don't forget, if it weren't me, they'd be going after somebody else. And I know a lot of the competition, they wouldn't do so well. They wouldn't be doing so well right now. They'd be saying, Mommy, take me home. I want to go home. This is brutal. But these are sick people. And for instance, the 51 intelligence agents, who thinks of these? And they think about it. just like they say, I'm guilty of. And all this information was from so many years before the election. It's before the election. So
that's a great point, because so you're talking about the intel agencies. Obviously, remember what Chuck Schumer said? He said, if you tick off the intel agencies, they'll find a way to get you 6 ways, 9 days. If you're elected, are you going to reform the intel community? What exactly are you going to do to make sure they don't target Americans like this?
Well, first of all, if you remember, when I took over, we had a guy named Comey. He was there. I didn't put him there. I didn't want him there. I thought he was terrible, actually. And he tried to get me, and I reversed it on him. Some people said he cost Hillary the election, and he didn't want to. But he was a bad guy, not a capable guy, an evil guy. They were doing things that, I won't mention here because it's so conspiratorial. I don't want to be conspiratorial. It's too nice a show. But bad guy. I fired him. Then I fired Strzok and Page and this one and that one. I got rid of that whole group of people, and we were doing great. Look, it's a very interesting question, and I say it, and it sounds beautiful, right? My revenge will be success, and I mean that. But it's awfully hard when you see what they've done. These people are so evil. And at the same time, the country can come together. I'm saying this, but the country can come together. During my term, prior to COVID, we had the most successful country we've ever had.
I want to follow up on what Rachel asked you, though, because I hear you struggling with it. I hear you say it's a tough question, a bit unsure. You famously said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You declined to do that as president.
I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said lock her up. And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you. I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great. Yeah. And it would have been, think of it, you lock up the wife of a president of the United States.
They want to lock you up over $130,000 of an accounting thing, and
a perfectly stated accounting thing. But, people also say, can you bring the country together? And the answer is yes. Success will bring the country together because I had it together. Before the China virus came in, I had it together. We really had it together. And it would have stayed. I think it would have stayed. Everybody was doing better. The country was doing better than it had ever done. And we're going back to those same policies and then some.
Americans have lost a lot of.
There you have it. He's at first he's like, yeah, it's success. Don't worry about it. That'll be the revenge. Now he's like, these people are sick. and they were before the verdict came in. That's not what's making him say that, but he's starting to realize like, oh, maybe I got to do more than just fire some people. Maybe I got to do more than just win. Maybe I got to shuffle some people around. I got to get rid of some people. Maybe I actually have to have a special prosecutor look into some things, or a special investigator look into some things. Maybe that really does need to happen. Because, yeah, think about it. What happens to the next guy? Let's say it's Vivek. Let's say it's Vance. Let's say it's Ivanka. Let's say it's Tucker Carlson. What happens when now all of a sudden that person's going toe-to-toe with someone who's from the Democratic Party? And it's those same bad actors. It's those same people who were weekend at Bernieing Obama. The same people who are handing Kamala Harris scripts. I don't know. I don't condone it, because it's not good. It's a slippery slope. It'll start just going back and forth that way. But I understand where he's coming from, when you look at everything. So he's like, I don't even know if I can answer the question anymore. And I completely get it. It's a rough thing to have to contend with, because he really didn't want to lock up Hillary Clinton. And it's funny because he said he was going to, and this is the clip of him actually saying to her, and this clip, I may not be able to use this clip. So I'm going to play it. If it doesn't play, you're going to just see me come back in a second. I'm just going to start explaining the clip. All right, let's go.
I think the one that you should really be apologizing for, and the thing that you should be apologizing for, are the 33,000 emails that you deleted and that you acid washed. And then the 2 boxes of emails and other things last week that were taken from an office and are now missing. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think I'd say this, but I'm going to say it. And I hate to say it. But if I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it. And we're going to have a special prosecutor. When I speak, I go out and speak. The people of this country are furious. In my opinion, the people that have been long-term workers at the FBI are furious. There has never been anything like this, where emails and you get a subpoena, and after getting the subpoena, you delete 33,000 emails. And then you acid wash them, or bleach them, as you would say, a very expensive process. So we're going to get a special prosecutor, and we're going to look into it, because you know what? People have been, their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done. And it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
You know,
Very, very. I love it. I love it. And again, if the clip didn't play, if I wasn't able to play the clip, it was basically just Trump breaking down everything that she did, the way that she took the 30,000 emails, she acid washed them or bleached them, whatever you want to call it. And Trump was like, you should be ashamed of yourself, and I'm going to get a special investigator to look into this whole thing. And of course, that's where the chant happened of lock her up, lock her up. That's where it all started. But I kind of feel like he should have done it. And I understand, and I'm going to play for you now what he has to say about, not doing that to her. But I don't know. I kind of think he should have done it. We're going to talk about that and what he should do with Biden if that whole thing actually happened. But let's play this first.
Not to pardon his son Hunter, who is now a convicted felon and faces more felony charges in his upcoming trial for alleged tax evasion. Would you consider granting clemency or a pardon to Hunter?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hilary Clinton, too. With Hilary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. And then I see the way they treat me. That's the way it goes. But I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that, but I was. I think my people understand it. They used to say, lock her up, and I'd say, just relax, please. We won the election. I think it would be I think it would have been horrible for our country and we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress. And then after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States. And then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way. I thought it was a very terrible thing. And she did a lot of very bad things. I'll tell you what, she was pretty evil. But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back, to have taken her and to have put her in jail, and I think you know the things as well as I do. There were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75% of the country, far beyond the Republican Party. Because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense. I want to have low taxes. I want to have strong borders. I want to have a strong military so that China and Russia, look, they've allowed China and Russia to do the impossible combined. They're natural enemies. They always have been, because China needs more land and Russia has it. They've always been natural enemies.
So that was him just breaking down, he just thought it was really bad to do. But I don't know. I think... here's the thing. If she did break the law and there was some wildly illegal things she did, maybe it's not she goes in prison in the jumpsuit and everything, but she has to stay at home. It's house arrest for the next 5 years or something like that, something like that. When it comes to Biden, Dennis Quaid was talking about Trump would probably pardon Biden. Again, if the things we've heard are true, I don't know that he should do that. I mean, Biden's stuff, if true, is nothing like Trump's stuff. It's not he wrote a thing here and he should have wrote the other thing, and since he wrote it so many times, I mean, let's throw him in jail. Am I right? It's not that. It's bad. It's money. It's a lot. It's testimony from Hunter's business partners. It's a lot, man. I'm not even gonna get into it, but it's a lot. And I don't really know that he should let that slide. And again, maybe it's not in the jumpsuit and everything like that. Maybe that's a bit too much. But house arrest, you gotta stay in your house. You know, you're not allowed to be in public office. That's done for Hillary. That's done for Biden. That would kind of make sense. You don't want these people, if they're really bad actors, you don't want them still mingling within the Democratic Party, still mingling within the U.S. government. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. I don't know. But yeah, Trump is a nicer guy, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wouldn't do that. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring you guys that really quick. Very interesting trains of thought. You know, Dennis Quaid sees the best in Trump. Trump has shown time and time again that he doesn't want these people prosecuted. He actually wants the country to come together, you know. I'm not saying I don't. I want to see the country come together too, obviously. But I mean, as they say in the Democratic Party, no one's above the law. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and other than that, I'm out.